This is iRacing.
Some road course layouts feel like they might as well be an oval. Watkins Glen Classic Circuit is well within that category. Our drivers better be prepared for close combat as we get ready for round 11 of the Skip Barber Race Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Craig King. Behind the scenes is our director, Christian Duploy, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Craig, this is really these drivers' Talladega.
There's only going to be 2 braking zones, basically, for the whole of the track. This is the ultimate of slipstream tracks for the ultimate slipstream series. It's going to be a very fun 25 minutes.
And Watkins Glen is also super popular in both sim racing and real life. Let's get a closer look at it with our track guide. Welcome to Watkins Glen International. Situated in upstate New York, just south of the Finger Lakes, this track has seen it all. Few road circuits can boast hosting Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR, and IMSA during its history. Though it did have a brief fallow period in the early 80s, thanks to the investment of local companies, it's grown into one of the premier road tracks in the U.S. With 4 layouts to choose from that range between 2.5 and 3.5 miles in length, lap times can vary greatly. But it also means it's suitable for lots of different levels of racing, from amateur to pro. The one thing that stays consistent no matter which car and which layout you're using is that Watkins Glen means speed. Many of the straights are very long, and the majority of the corners are fast sweepers. Some of them include a surprising amount of banking as well. Combine that with the proximity of the barriers, and this historic circuit retains a very old-school feel. Drivers in lesser-powered cars can expect drafting battles, while higher-powered machinery will test the skill and bravery of their pilots. Some of the turns are visually iconic, such as the carousel and the S's. Others, like the inner loop, the chute, and turn 9, greatly challenge even the expertly skilled. And of course, we haven't even mentioned the drastic amount of elevation change drivers experience. Between its rich history and popularity among drivers, this track stays busy and seems likely to be that way for a long, long time. If we take a look at the track map, this is about as simple as they can come on road courses, Craig.
Yeah, when you think this is almost a version that kind of akin to what it was like back in the 50s or 60s, where basically the start of the track hasn't changed. You get that braking at the 90 at turn 1, and that turn 2 looks a little bit sharp, but it is all uphill and flat out, which means it's just going to be a run to the outer loop at turn 5, which is then your downhill section. So basically all your overtaking is going to be done there. I could go on about how that's going to make a difference. It's one corner for one overtake, and also being that it is the classic layout here, Joe, I believe that also means off tracks. What off tracks? Because I think they'll be able to use a lot of the runoff on turn 1. That will be very crucial when it comes to some of the racing here today. We said it was a draft track. We said it's a draft track series. This is going to be very action-packed. If you've never raced at this layout, yeah, you got to enjoy every moment.
Yeah, and I'll have to check. I'm not sure. I'll see what the rules say once we get in the sim here and about those off tracks on turn 1, because if it is wide open, then yeah, that will definitely change the nature of that first corner in a significant way. As for the championship situation right now, Adam Miles is still up at the top of things. He's got 3 points over Martin. It has really come down. Otuga is behind by about 13 points, and then it's a big drop down to Tim Bertie. From there, Bertie's probably more concerned about Sanchez, only 7 points back from him, another 5 down to Guardia. So you got kind of these clumps of groups that are very close in points, fighting with one another. But the main one that our championship hopefuls are worried about is 1st through 3rd, Miles, Martin, and Otuga. It could still change by the end of this one. Let's give a quick run through on what this race is going to look like as well with our race details.
Yeah, well, of course, it's crunch time. It's round 11, just 2 more races to go, including this one. And it's 16 laps, which, when you think about how quick this track is, that sounds a very short race. But remember, these are slow cars. It is an open setup, so you can use the iRacing setups or something you've made yourself. And if you do have an accident, and there might be some accidents today, you have a spare car. It's the old days on an old track, so we get the old rules. We've got the T car in, but as it is the old rules, it is disqualification at 17 incident points. And I have been looking, I have looked at some of these drivers, Joe. The runoff at turn 1 looks like it's fair game.
Ooh, okay. So yeah, it's going to make passing even harder into the 90 because you can use quite a bit of that runoff then. As we watch from above, still haven't seen any lap time set, interestingly. Thought that with such a short lap, we would have had some drivers be able to cross by now, but we'll wait to see who positions themselves where. Granted, this of all tracks, your starting position is going to mean very little.
It's going to be very miserable. We're here to Adam Miles, and this is what we meant. Look how close he goes to the wall. Now, for those who are unaware, that usually is an off-track. But as this is the short loop, it's basically a nowadays modern NASCAR layout. And in one of the latest updates in iRacing, they enabled on some of these layouts that would be designed for the likes of NASCAR or touring cars, where if the real world allows the drivers to be a little bit more laps with the off-tracks, they've opened it up. So that's why you're going to see some crazy lines getting taken out of turn 1 and then down to the outer loop. Finally, Adam actually moves the steering wheel. He hasn't done so for the last 20 seconds, it felt like, as he comes on down. And this has always been fair game here. You can see some drivers will really want to be aggressive here to see how much runoff they take there, because that means they are getting on the throttle as soon as possible. Then comes the 2 hardest braking points on the track.
Yep, down into turn 6, and then it'll switch over to turn 7 here, but it's hard to pass. It's mostly going to be down to that draft to allow you to get by other cars without a doubt. You're not going to be as worried about trying to outbrake your rivals. Adam's first lap will hopefully be counted. It does, a 1:23.9. That puts him immediately onto the pole over DeFreda.
Yeah, and Philip Burton is coming across the line now, and his time doesn't count. That was his outlap, DeFreda, now who had that pole position. The Dutchman looking to see if he can make a move up, and got to find a 10th, which doesn't sound a lot, but I've driven cars around this track where you're doing sub 60-second laps. So to see the Skip Barbers do something that's almost 90 seconds, Roger's Guardia 1,000th slower than Adam Miles, and the Raider cannot improve. Look how close it is at the top.
Wow, so Miles could still stretch himself away, but he doesn't have to worry about Raul. Could be some other drivers that will be quick here, as Berto Otero is just coming around to complete his second lap. First one good enough for 5th as it sits right now. We're also waiting for Philip Burke. He could upset things up on the top of the stands, but down through the penultimate turn, quite a bit of banking on a lot of these corners. This is such an old school throwback, Watkins Glen.
I love it. I love that. Josephine Becker out of nowhere, putting the car on pole position. This looks like the type of track that might suit her today if she gets a real good start. What has Miles got, though? He goes faster, and he goes faster more so. 3/10 faster than anybody else. We'll keep an eye on what's going to happen. Philip Burt's going to come across the line. His first time's not that good, so Panky might have a threat there, but eyes on that number 13 car, Joe. There's only 15 cars in the grid. That just goes to show how good her time was.
Yeah, I mean, just a stunner from Becker. Now, can she convert that into a win? Maybe a podium? There's Suaponki coming around to complete the final corner. Got to watch out for that exit. The wall is right there, and there's a good shot coming off. He does leave a good margin compared to some. Just making sure that he does not clip the wall. His second lap, a 24.3. That will jump the Finn up into 7th, and all 15 cars have managed to set a time now.
Yeah, Herman Suarez going to be one of the last drivers out there. But Philip Burke, I believe, will be the last man to... Actually, it's going to be Torres, if he's got enough time. Torres will have enough time to be the last person to set a lap here, but Philip Burke, really the one we're looking at, 8 tenths slower than Adam Miles, and you could be thinking, just find a couple of tenths, and that puts you up into the top 5, and ideally, third or second row would be a really good place to start when you come out of the 90 to start the race. So this could be interesting. Avoid the wall, and this is what he's got. We've seen everybody improve on their second laps. Can Philip improve this time? He does. It's not that good. He does climb up, though, to that third row in 6th. That's what I'm talking about. He made up 3 places there. That's a whole row and a half he's made up.
I think Torres is going to be our final one able to cross the line and improve. He sits in 13th, so he could definitely use it. And as he gets ready to hit that timing line of 25.411, certainly not what he's going to be hoping for, although he's number 14. So he's already up against it. 25 flat. He does not improve position, even though he improved time as he crosses just before the bell. And that means that our grid has now been set, and Adam Miles might be our pole sitter, but he shares that front row with Josephine Becker. And I'm sure she is going to put up a good fight based on the way we've seen her race in the past. Guardia will start from 3rd behind the pair of them. Otero will be in 4th. Arjan de Freda will start from 5th, as it's Philip Burke in 6th position. Xavier Sanchez will be P7, Peter Suapanki P8, and Jesus Cabal 9th, with Pablo Joglar rounding out your top 10.
Just 5 more cars to go. Alejandro Rodriguez will be in 11th, and Herman Suarez in 12th. Julio Benito Torres will be in 13th, with Steph Gonzalez in 14th. Daniel Tuga, only 15th, very slow time. I wonder if that's a mistake on the second lap. We should be seeing Daniel at the front of the field, so that's a really weird qualifying time there.
Yeah, unusual out of him. Will that give us a fun charge up the fields? You got to stay out of trouble as well. Just like we've been describing it as the Talladega of road courses, you can sometimes get the big one. It might only be 15 cars, but they can wind up tangling with multiple drivers and find themselves out of it before they really get to start. Just about have everybody already on the grid, so I think we're getting ready for the green shortly, as Philip Burke is going to be the last one to place himself there in 6. As is traditional, it is a standing start in this series, but with the wide runoff at turn 1, hopefully that will make for somewhat of a cleaner start here into the first corner and keep drivers from having to tangle with one another. Philip is taking his time, and now he finally places himself. So the engines will start to rev here for the penultimate round of Season 1 in 2026. We look for the green flag, and there it is. The green flag is out, and they start to accelerate away immediately. Pretty much everybody moving over to drivers left to give themselves a nice wide entry into the downhill plunge. That is the 90, almost single file for the top 7 cars or so. And it is a relatively clean start through the field out of turn 1.
Yeah, just a couple overtakes at the start there, 3 overtakes as well, and they're all at the back of the field. But now we get up the hill, and this is where it's going to be important. Can you work with people? Do you want to work with people? Miles, Becker, Guardia going here. We talk about how Becker's a real good slipstream driver here. You know, loves these draft tracks. Just gets caught out a little bit when a driver does just what we're seeing right now. And Otero taking it 3 wide has been caught out a few times with that. That's a massive draft that Berto's taken, already straight into the lead. Becker's going to try and fight this around the outside. I think that favors her. A little bit of a twitch on the cold tires, still level. That's going to be interesting to see here, Joe, is to see how that outside line works, and almost coming together as right behind a 3 wide and almost trying to make it 4 wide.
For some reason, we've got a whole bunch of meatball flags now. Was there a wreck that we had missed in the back, as some of them have already towed into pit lane? So seems to have been a major issue for a few drivers, but the front is unaffected for the time being led by Becker across the line. Our pole sitter, Adam Miles, will come across in 4th position, and woof, look at this move up the inside. I think that's De Freda, who looks aggressive there in the purple and pink car. It
was De Freda making that move onto Philip Burke. We missed a 4 5-car incident at the back of the field going down to the outer loop. I can report, as you can see, Gonzalez in the pits, but Torres, Otuga, and Cabal all had to take a tow. And I believe Herman Suarez is just rolling into the pits right now. He is. Here comes the look again, 3 wide. I'll tell you what, the Notaro just had to take a little bit of a lift there, went the wrong way, and this isn't bump drafting, but it feels like it's bump drafting right now as Ariane manages to just allow Miles to go ahead. This is what we expected to see, and usually, Joe, let's throw out the 3rd place as the best place on a draft track today. I feel like 5th might be the best place, looking at Adam making all those moves already.
And I said that they'll need to be used to close quarters racing. I'd say that it looks like they're ready to try and take that challenge. Burke with a lot of blinking, which is not going to help that situation. Hopefully he's made aware of it soon, and he'll maybe give himself a little bit of leeway so that he doesn't cause issues. Yes, he wants to win the race, but doesn't want to spoil everybody's good time either.
No, it's always the worst feeling when you've got someone blinking, because you don't know where they are, you don't know how to make predictions, you don't know what's going to happen there, and you have a little bit of net code as well. The internet issues there would just cause issues, and I think that's why Philip decided not to be aggressive there and just let everyone go. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because you can see how the pack has kind of lost that front. They'll catch back up by the time they get to the outer loop here, because look at them, they're going through 2 wide, they're almost going 3 wide. In fact, Josephine found a really good gap. That's a really good move. That feels like a super speedway move there, Joe. She saw a gap was opening and she took it right away. That's some impressive heads-up driving.
I've been noticing that about her approach here in these races. It seems like she really is unafraid to try and get her nose in when the opportunity shows itself. And that could come to her advantage in this race, because multiple times it's brought her to the front relatively quickly. Question is, everybody else maybe trying to wait a little bit longer, allowing her that opportunity? Is it something where nobody else is being that aggressive and it makes her look more aggressive, sort of thing?
Yeah, I know that some of the drivers, there's the old school strength of field split that some of the Skip Barber drivers do. And they didn't like drivers being aggressive. They would just wait it out to the final, then go for moves. And sometimes you'd get the drivers just not be happy with some drivers just being a little bit touch aggressive. But you're racing to win at the end of the day. You're not racing to just get around for the 25 minutes to just get there at the end. So at some point you have to make some aggressive moves. And I think that's one of the things the drivers are just waiting for. And just right there, Reuter actually saw that Miles was going to get a little bit wide there at the top of the S's, took the opportunity to go. Now they've got a chance to go 3 wide. They're going to go 4 wide just for a split second. They're still keeping it 4 wide, and now back to 3. Very interesting, because Adam had a chance there, decided against it.
And they've also dropped Suaponki as we go 2 wide. Whoa, it's a very wide run there from Hoglar coming to the outside, pinching down. That was Guardia who nearly got to the side of Becker, and they'll come out the other side of the carousel, but they do need to be careful. There's some drivers who need to make sure they are clear before they take a line.
I've never seen a timing tower like this where basically everybody is less than a tenth between each other. Look at it. Just the top 8 are just a tenth within one another. Absolute carnage. In fact, De Bruyne is officially a second behind Rodriguez. You wouldn't know it. Alejandro Rodriguez, the number 11 car, who started 11th, is now in the lead. This is this as I always make the joke about Peloton racing here, Joe. This feels ultimate Peloton racing. If you've never seen a super speedway, well, this is what you kind of expect. Anybody can take the front, but it's when you're going to be on those final 2 laps that is important.
On board with Heike 360 as he climbs up the hill. He currently sits a little bit farther down in 9th spot. In fact, yeah, he's the last on this train, so that is everybody in the main group ahead of him right now. He just kind of bides his time, pulls on the slipstream, watching almost 4 wide, definitely 3 wide, coming into the carousel corner, and each of them trying to give each other space as they fly in. Hoglar again likes to send it in harder, drift up a little bit high mid-corner, and then cut across, but it's not going to work because Rodriguez is going to have the lead out of it, but he'll be on the wrong side coming into the left-hander. We're going to go 4 wide this time. Becker again is going to take that lead away. We get some contact, and Hoglar involved. Rodriguez goes out. DeFreda goes all the way to the outside in the runoff to try and avoid the incident. Amazingly, I think Rodriguez was the only loser in that. He might still have the slipstream.
Yeah, they still have a slipstream, and I'm just looking around. I don't even see damage on any of those cars. Maybe a little bit of paint scraping there on the on that car there, the number 11 Rodriguez. It was just a loose moment there for Hoglar. Just got a little bit too loose there, but managing to hold on the Voida behind him. But this is also good because Josephine took the initiative once again. And look at the gap she's got. It's 6/10 now at the top of the hill. That's not something these drivers are going to be able to make an overtake on this time. Because look at that gap. That doesn't look a lot, Joe. That is a gap that says, well, not making an overtake this time, but here comes the slipstream. And as I've been speaking, Miles just completely eliminate all that time.
Exactly. However, behind them, it started at about 9/10. It's down to 8/10 by the end of the straightaway. Could we have two packs here at the front here soon? It's being led by Sanchez right now on the outside, but there's no coordination in this group like we're seeing with the top three.
No, and this is what we were worried about because we all know that this is how you've got to do some battles. And I know Adam was on the microphone right away to Otero as well, trying to just talk about strategy and let's work together. They are going to catch back up here. Even though you've got Arjan trying to go around the outside of Hoglar, they're going to go 3 wide, losing more time. Oh, Javier Sanchez is going to like sitting this right behind him, seeing them go 3 wide while he's trying to catch up to the back of this field. It does work for him, and almost a late break there for Burke. It's not worked. I know you got the runoff here, Joe, but that doesn't mean you can just throw it into the 90 and hope the runoff just allows you to that momentum.
It doesn't go on forever. There is a wall eventually. So yeah, you're right. And also, you just have to be worried about where your fellow competitors are, making sure that you don't pinch someone into that powder blue Armco. Up in front of them, you could see that Miles Otero Becker has still been swapping positions. It's been slightly more orderly, but that's easy to do when you've got 3 versus 6 cars that are all vying for one spot coming down into the carousel once again, and they've not gained. It still sits about 1 second. But if those top 3 keep fighting, they could still reel them in. They just haven't really done so in the last lap and a half, last 2 laps, really.
And I think a lot of it is, again, there's NASCAR rules for off-track. So I think there's a little bit of leeway for the off-track here at this corner. And I do wonder if that just allows these at the front to, look, they got side by, they got in line right away. Behind them, Arjan and Burke trying to just battle it out here for a position. Hoglar's going to go right through the middle and take it 3 wide. I think Arjan's just on the radio saying, I don't know if it's what he's been saying, but if I'm in his shoes right now, I'm saying, look, we're 1.6 behind right now. How are we going to make up time? We're going to have to work together, but you need to use each other to slingshot. And what they're doing right now is slingshotting and fighting. They're not using this to really make moves at the moment. And now the gap's 2 seconds. This is worry if you're no one in that top 3.
That might be the proverbial nail in the coffin. 2 seconds seems a little bit too hard. 1 second, they could have maybe worked together to catch them. They've given up on it. It's going to go 4 wide here, down into the carousel once again with DeFreda on the very inside. No, excuse me, that's Sanchez rather. And he's able to pull ahead of the other 3, but only just barely. So yeah, they seem to have given up hope on trying to catch that top group. This is a battle for best of the rest now.
But I think they're having fun while they're just battling for the rest of the rest. Because look at them, they went 4 wide, 2 wide, 4 wide. Out of nowhere, the leaders were going 3 wide at the time, and they've slotted themselves all back in. Sanchez just holding on by at the front. There's a slide from Burke. Just gets everyone going, and we know this is the car that loves to be a little bit loose, and the drivers love to slide it around. I think having a car that slides on a track like this is probably not the right thing. Because you just saw what happened there. Burke with too much of a slide. They all had to react a little bit, and even more sliding as he tries to go in. And yeah, this is not the sign that they don't care about the podium anymore. I don't know what it is. I'll probably need to write it on a Sharpie to tell me on a whiteboard, Joe, because I think they have given up.
And it was Hoglar nearly running into Burke there. In fact, they're so close to making contact coming up through the S's. That's brave considering the connection issues that we saw from Burke earlier. They'll fan out once again while our top three continue to squabble over the lead, but seem to do so relatively orderly. This time, it's going to be Tefreda who shoots the gap up through the middle. Hoglar will slot in behind him. That is 4th and 5th now between those two, while Burke and Guardia slip farther back down towards the back of that pack. I think they've been caught slightly by Peter Suaponki, which could be great news for him. He's that yellow-nosed car in the background.
That might help Peter as well, but that also just goes to show how much time they've been losing, and I think that's why Tefreda decided that he had to start making moves there, and he just used all that momentum to get in the lead of this, and maybe he's going to work with Hoglar right now, because Hoglar giving him a little bit of a bump draft while we're watching these guys go as well. They're going to go free wide, they're going to go bump drafting, the leaders are just staying in a line, and I wonder what's the smartest play, and I think it's staying in a line, because look, even still, with Burt making those moves, look at the time now. They're losing to Hoglar and Tefreda.
2.2 seconds is the gap, and Suaponki is now within 1 second. So yeah, he is cheering about this because he was stuck back there on his lonesome for a number of laps. We're on lap 10 out of 16. He's still got a good shot of at least maybe fighting for 4th. If you're within a pack, that highest position is always within your clutches.
They are a little bit dirty there. Well, I say dirty, they got the tires dirty, but drivers trying to find lines and trying to find ways through, and it was just getting a little bit chaotic. But let's look at these times. The lead three did 23 flat or 23.3 or 23.6 last time. The Tefreda did a 22.7. He knows the swing shot works, but they've only got, 7 laps to go after this. It's too late. They need to start working together, and more. They're chopping and changing. And I go back, Joe, to about 5 laps ago, when we had that near miss. Becca took the initiative. She got ahead of this group. Did she know something that we don't know? Because all of a sudden, she's at the front. It would have been a 2-car race had she not done that.
I think it was just her preference to be in the front as much as possible. And we keep making the comparisons. That's the way some drivers like to race in super speedway racing as well. Stay out of the melee, avoid getting into trouble, and that helps you out. Now, you have to be aggressive to kind of get up to the front because of that, but it pays off because it winds up being safer in the long run that way. Now, the aggressive moves can sometimes bite you, but at least you're not chopping like you said these drivers are. Hoglar nearly breaking away. You can see there, gets up a half a second ahead, but I have a feeling that gap is going to be swallowed once again.
Now, I haven't done super speedways for a year, but I remember my old super speedway initiative. Stay at the back and be safe. Wait for a caution. There's no cautions here. You have to be aggressive. It's probably the one time I would look at a track like this and say you've got to be aggressive. And you can see some of these drivers just trying to take the initiative and have that aggression. They have caught up to the back of Hoglar, but it's not working because look who's right behind him. It's Tefreda. And let's go back to that super speedway analogy again. That's his pusher. That's his pusher right now. It's almost like the buddy system's back here, Joe. But there's 3 buddies at the front, and there's 2 here trying to make their way through, and the rest of them, they just can't decide if they want to grab a partner and do-si-do.
And it's so much harder to push as well, because these cars are not designed with that in mind at all. Open wheelers, rarely it works out well. It can work. Oh, I think off screen, Hoglar clipped the wall a little bit potentially. I think it only hurt his momentum a little bit, but now he has been reeled in a hurry by Tefreda. And yeah, before they even get to the backstretch, he's round the outside and ahead.
He had a bit of a slide when he got around the exit there at the 90, and if anything, the barrier actually stopped his slide, but it also stopped all his momentum, and this is what we're getting right now. Not what he wants to see, because now you've got Guardia, and Guardia is actually a really good draft partner, draft driver when it comes to this car, so he does have that ability, and he hasn't been at the front of one of these packs for a while. But again, it's 3 seconds. They're not catching the leaders unless the leaders have a big moment right now. They're still battling, and now you see Hogar. He's looking a bit on board with Otero, still going by, and they're just happy. They're just happy right now, Joe. They're going to wait for the grandstand finish. I think we're in the realm now to start talking chess, though, because does Miles or Becker want to start leading, or do they just want to wait till the end?
Yeah, that onboard we were watching was the lead pack, and you could tell the difference between them, as there was just much less movement between the cars, and there wasn't really all that much fight. Meanwhile, back to Hoglar, Guardia, Sanchez, De Freda, Burke, and Rodriguez out of turn one. 4 laps to go. That's going to be Hoglar at the front of the group once again. Guardia getting a nice run as these two, De Freda and Burke, are interrupted by Rodriguez, who finds just enough space in the left-hand portion of the S's. Top of the hill now, up to the back straightaway. Who does what? It looks like it's going to be Sanchez, who splits the middle and takes the point.
Yeah, Sanchez splits the middle. He'll take the point. Will anyone get a bit of a run here? No, I don't see the 2 green cars making anything. Interesting, though, at the front of the field, Otero lost the lead to Miles, and Becker decided, I'm going to stay in the middle here. I don't know if I like that. We go back to that 3rd place is the best place, and we saw that's what Adam just did as we watched these drivers as well, trying to make their way, and dirty air given to both drivers here as Hoglar in the neon yellow against Guardia in the dark green. It's still working, and these Iberians, as they say, are really having fun out there. But you're only battling, and the key thing here, Joe, the track has gotten hotter. We haven't talked about it. It's 38 Celsius. It's 100 Fahrenheit. This feels like a standard Watkins Glen track.
Yeah, it's this is pretty typical cloud cover. Now, obviously, bringing some of that down slightly, but it is warm. It is slidey, and that makes it harder to have all this close racing. As we come back to our leaders, Miles is in the front, but only temporarily as Otero goes from 3rd to 1st. Becker is going to throw her hat in the ring with him and follow back into 2nd. Next time by, it's going to be 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go, and meanwhile behind them, De Freda takes away again. A little bit of contact in the background. May just see it was Rodriguez who went a little bit wide, and everyone keeps together again. But it is a little bit chaotic. The car right there at the bottom with Hoglar went really wide and manages to hold it. And now going to take this a little clip with the tires, and everybody gets locked into Freda and Guardia, both locked together. They survive, but what time and what momentum have they lost? They're at the back of this pack now.
Yeah, Burke, Sanchez, Rodriguez all slipped underneath. Good positioning that time through. As we get a little look to the inside from Sanchez on Burke, but then pops back into line once again. All of them chucking it into that first corner, taking it as wide as possible. Momentum is everything in the Skippies.
I hate to say this, Joe. I'm a suckler for the rules. I want to see drivers stay in the racing line, but seeing these Skip Barbers go absolutely wide through the 90, really just enjoying what I like seeing right now. We're going to go 3 wide again here, 3 wide again for the front. Key thing for the front drivers, they have a lapped car. That put Miles into the lead. The lap car, I think, will probably give way this time. They do. That's that lap car right ahead. I believe that's Torres. Torres goes very wide, lets them go. But that allowed Miles to get a little bit of a slipstream. Otero is 3rd. That's crucial. I think my money's on Berto right now.
Yeah, Torres giving way was a huge factor in this, because I was kind of wondering if he stays in the mix and doesn't pull over, then obviously that can give someone a slipstream that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So, yeah, that simplifies things a little bit for them, and I'm sure a few are appreciative, a few are not. White flag for 1 to go as we plunge down to the 90 for the final time. Miles takes the fastest lap of the race, like you said, using that slipstream to great advantage as we ride on board with Otero up the hill. Is this where he wants to be?
Well, let's wait and see. He's a little bit too far behind, but you've got Becker right behind. She'll take the advantage right away to pull off pull over to the side to try and make the move as fast as she can. But I don't think it's going to help right now because here comes the slipstream of Berto. And if Josephine wants to go, she has to go now. She hasn't. And she's only just put her nose right there. That's not good. They are going to go 3 wide, but Josephine's trying to find slipstream. She's lost it. Otero takes the lead, but I think Miles might have a response.
I think she was hoping that the speed would be enough that she would be pulled back into that second place with him. She's going to try and split the middle in the meantime, and she has just enough space, and the two at the last moment realize it, but it slows all 3 of them down. It's a little bit of a pitch from Miles down to the inside. He has to back out of that. Otero is now our leader, but will he be by the time they get to the line? Because remember, they have that final run all the way to the finish here. Miles taking the inside away from Otero into the last turn. Is that it? Is that the move that gives him the win? Otero tries to pull the slipstream, but it's not enough of a straightaway. He gets beside him, but it is going to be Miles that outmaneuvers them all and takes the win. 3 wide of the line between Sanchez, Hoglar, and Burke, and Hoglar takes it by the tiniest of margins. The 3 of them split by 0.04 of a second.
Yeah, it was Sanchez who made it at the end. What a finish. And you have witnessed history. For the first time that we have known on the Global Sim Racing channel, you've seen a driver reclaim/claim 10K. Adam Miles back in the 10K club. You know he's going to be happy with that. And Guardia, I think so it must have happened at the end there because he's coming into the pits, or very slow. I did not see him have an issue, but that back wheel is looking very busted, and I wonder if there was just a little bit of a tap at the end, a little bit too aggressive. Well, yes, there was.
Yeah, I was going to say, I went back and looked. There was a 4 wide that tried to become 5 wide into the penultimate corner. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to show it, and it sent about half of that group off into the runoff at the end. So everybody got aggressive, as you tend to expect in these races. Suarez will have to settle for 12th position. Suapanki gained some spots because of all that fighting. He wound up getting back up to 7th. But we'll go over the entire finishing order here now just to clarify where it all wound up in the end. As Adam Miles is your victor today. And did an incredible job, honestly. I didn't think he was going to have the ability to refight Otero there at the end, but it worked out. It was 0.07 of a second across the line. Becker, still an awesome podium with 3rd, fighting with that front group. Sanchez came out in a 3 wide fight to take 4th. Hoglar next to him in 5th, and Burke in at 6th. Suapanki gained because of those incidents to take 7th. Rodriguez, I think, amongst that clatter there into the penultimate turn to take 8th. DeFreda was as well in 9th. And Guardia, you saw, limped to 10th, Craig.
Yeah, he limped to 10th. A 2-minute 10 final lap there. Steph Gonzalez will be in 11th after taking the repairs. So was Herman Suarez. Also took the repairs as well. But they both drove to the pit to take the fast repair. Julio Torres finished a lap down, had to take the tow to get the fast repair. Then Daniel Atuga and Jesus Cabal both took a retirement on the crash. Officially, the results gives Daniel 15th and Jesus 14th, just due to where they were on the track.
Looks like we have our winner ready to chat. Adam Miles managing to just sneak up to the front right at the last corner. Adam, I mean, we all knew this was going to be down to strategy, placement of the car. How did you know you would be able to get that inside in the final turn?
Oh, I didn't. I was okay leading out the last lap down the straight because you can do something into, I guess, what's turn 6, I think, technically. A little bit of bumping down that straight. I think that the first one I just didn't know that we were 3 wide. I think Josephine still had a nose in there. Second one was probably on me. I think I was too focused on just trying to get Berto slipstream back, and then we bumped again, but just had to go full send around the outside. You've got the off tracks playing in your favor, so I managed to carry the speed, and then I was alongside into the final corner, and just had to make sure I didn't get undercut. Berto was probably always going to get a better exit, but just managed to do enough.
It seemed like there was quite a bit of distance between you and that second pack. Were you 3 in communication after that breakaway to ensure that you didn't get reeled back in?
I didn't hear anything from Berto or Josephine. I think when I saw the gap get out to about 0.9 or 1.0, I did call out to say, Josephine, Berta, we've got an opportunity here. I don't know if my voice made it to Josephine. She still, we still went side by side into some corners. I thought, oh, we're going to throw this away. But once it got out to 1.2, 1.3, I think everyone in the group just realised, and we were just playing sensible until probably lap 15 when we started to get into position for what we wanted to do on the final lap.
Well, it gave us the excitement we expected. Navarro for the last one of the season, a bit of a newer-ish track on iRacing. You looking forward to that?
I do. I enjoy it. It's quite a big track. I think we're doing the full layout this time, and yeah, it's got one big straight. Obviously, and I think turn 1, 2, it's sort of a triple apex 1, 2, 3. Really needs a lot of commitment in these cars. You can carry much more speed than you think on early practice at that track. So, really enjoyed it last time we were here, and yeah, hopefully I can do the same again next week.
Well, stellar job today. You got it by 0.07 of a second. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was Adam Miles, your winner, which is going to wrap us up. So a big thank you to all of the Skippy community members for bringing us back to help cover this season. And thanks to the team today, Craig, Christian, and Dougie. Make sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. We mentioned it. Navarra is going to be the next one. That'll be March 5th at 1:15 p.m. Eastern. There's that full layout that you can see. A lot of slower corners compared to what we saw today, but still should see some fun runs down the main straight. Up next, the Grand Prix Legends will be heading to Interlagos. Make sure and tune in for that, as well as for all of our other broadcasts listed here. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.
This is iRacing.